Welcome to the Irresistible You podcast. This is the place to get a dose of empowerment to create the life you crave and deserve. I'm your host, Amy Beltran, CEO and founder of Irresistible University. Through my signature online coaching program, I teach women just like you how to ditch the body image issues, gain confidence, and lose the emotional weight to look and feel irresistible at any size. If you would like to learn more about my group coaching program and see if you're a good fit for enrollment, please schedule a free confidence clarity call at irresistibleicing.com/call. The link is also in the show notes. All right, guys, let's dive in and let's get started. So, this is really funny and actually quite ironic because the topic that I'm talking about today or this week is about the commitment that you need to make to invest in yourself. And we're going to talk about what commitment is and what it means to invest in yourself, because there's multiple ways to invest in yourself. It's not just about financially investing in yourself. And why I say it's so ironic that this is what's planned this week is because normally I pre-record the episodes on Sundays so that they can go live at 5 a.m. on Monday mornings. And I had come into my office to record, and I do this, after my daughter goes to sleep, and came in here, and all of a sudden I'm looking at my notes and I couldn't see because I was starting to get floaters in my eyes. I had migraines for most of my adult life, and so the big thing I get with migraine is eye floaters, where literally I get these floaters so bad that I can't see. It's like my brain goes haywire and I can't even process what's going on. And right now, with me being pregnant, my migraines have come back and it's making things really difficult. And as of recording this, I'm 35 weeks. I just went to the hospital last week because I needed to be monitored for some additional labs and blood pressures and things like that. And so there's a high probability that baby could come earlier than anticipated. And so I was just out. I was out. I was like trying so hard to read my notes. I couldn't read. I was like, let me go take a shower. Let me go lay down. Let me see if I feel any better. And the more I thought about my symptoms and how I was feeling based on what I learned at the hospital last week and other things that are going on, I kind of sent myself into a little bit of an anxiety panic attack. And that was scary because also on Sunday nights, my husband is at work. And so, it's just me. And that's really scary too, because you're thinking, oh my God, what if something happens? And so I was able to calm down. I was able to take a nap. And by the time I woke up, I actually woke up because he got home. And my husband, being the amazing man that he is, and we just celebrated his birthday this weekend, he's like my rock. He keeps me grounded and he makes me feel just relief when he's here. And I got up, made myself a snack, and started to get ready for bed. And I actually just got into bed. And I was like, my husband's like, don't worry, because I was like so freaking out. I was like, I have to have my podcast. This is a commitment that I do every week, and I don't want to let my listeners down, and I have to do this. He's like, right now, you and the baby come first. Everything else will happen. You can do it tomorrow. You will find the time. It's okay. And I'm like, it just wasn't okay for me. And I got back into bed. I got ready, brushed my teeth, did the whole nine, and I'm laying in bed and I'm just like, all right, I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm feeling better. I'm not shaky. The headache is gone. I can see again. I'm just tired and I want to go to sleep. I said, but this is my commitment. This is part of my business, and it's a commitment that I have agreed to do. And this is episode 109, and I don't want to let you guys down, and I especially don't want to let myself down, right? And it just wouldn't sit well with me to then have to do it tomorrow when I've been on a roll with getting this thing done on Sunday so that it publishes, first thing on Monday morning. And so many of you listen on your commute while you're taking the kids to school. And I can't, when I make a commitment to something, especially when I have a commitment to myself, I can't let that go. You know, it was just like, I was in the hospital last week. They did send me home. I wasn't there overnight, but I was there for a little while, and it was unexpected. And I was, answering client comments and emails and things like that. And it's like, it was the same way right before they wheeled me into my C-section with my daughter. The nurse came in who was supposed to be like putting my IVs in and things. And I was like, I hope you don't take this the wrong way. I was like, but could you come back in like 5 minutes? Because I just have to send these emails for work. Because at the time, that was also an unplanned, I was supposed to have a C-section, but she also came early. And I still had things that had to be finalized before I went into surgery. Like the lady looked at me like I had two heads. But I'm a very committed person to whatever it is I want to do and whatever it is that who and whatever I've committed myself to. So I was laying in bed just now, fighting off the heartburn, cannot get comfortable. For those of you that have had babies, you understand, like I'm at that point where it hurts to sit in a chair. It hurts to lay in a bed. It hurts to lay on my left side, my right side, my back. There's definitely no laying on my stomach. It's miserable to stand up for too long. It's miserable to sit down for too long. So I'm kind of just at the place where like you have to kind of surrender to this is just where you're at, and this too shall pass. This too shall pass. And laying in bed fighting off the heartburn and can't really get comfortable anyway, and I'm like, this isn't sitting well with me. I need to go record my episode. I have to do this. And I'm like, and what better way. Obviously, this story that I'm telling you was not a planned part of the content for today, but it so just ties into the topic of what it means to make a commitment and to keep that commitment to yourself. Whatever that commitment is. I know specifically, on this podcast, we talk about the Irresistible You journey, losing weight, losing emotional weight, and losing physical weight, and creating the life you crave, and the commitment that takes in order to become the irresistible you version of yourself. And I wanted to just look up, by definition, what does commitment mean? I think we all know what it means, but sometimes I really like to see the specific definition of something, because I think that's helpful to hear. And it said that making a commitment involves dedicating yourself to something, like a person or a cause. Before you make a commitment, think carefully. A commitment obligates you to do something, right? That's the key phrase here, obligates you to do something, which is why so many people are terrified of going all in, going hard, and making a commitment, especially when that commitment is to yourself and to becoming a better version of yourself. Because what it is telling yourself is that once I make a commitment and I stop saying, I'm going to try. When you say the phrase, I'm going to try, that is not making a commitment. That is giving yourself an out. I want you to imagine when you married your partner, or when you think about marrying your partner, if you stood at the altar and said, I'm going to try to do things for better or for worse. I'm going to try. I would be like, peace out, yo. I'm good. I'm not marrying your ass. I'm done. Right? Like, that doesn't work for me. Right? I'm going to try not to cheat on you. I'm going to try to stick with you when you're sick. I'm going to try to stick with you when we run into financial hardship. I'm going to try. Not, I will. I'm committed to you, right? And so for, making commitments to yourself, I see so many people that are terrified to do this because you want to be able to give yourself an out. I hope, I'll try, I might be able to do that, right? And so you talk in these very vague surface level terms to where you're not making a commitment because you don't want to be obligated to have to follow through with it, because you don't know how to handle things when it gets uncomfortable, when it gets hard, when you feel like quitting, when you feel like giving up, right? So I want you to think of commitment, and so before I even do that, if you're sitting around and you're uncomfortable in your own skin, you don't like the woman you see in the mirror, you don't like where you are in your life, right? At what point are you going to decide that you are worth a damn for you to make a commitment to yourself? And every time you sit around and you tell yourself, well, I'll just start over tomorrow, I'll just start over Monday, I'll start over in January, I'll start over in September, well, fuck it, it's September, I might as well just start over in January, and you keep repeating that same cycle with like, I'll just start over tomorrow with my diet, I'll just start over tomorrow with my weight. How many more years and months are you going to let roll by before you decide, I'm going to commit to investing in myself because I deserve this? And I'm no longer going to sit here and give myself an out as to why it's not going to work. So, commitment is you making a future investment in yourself. You're putting deposits in the bank on your future. That's what commitment is really, truly about when it comes to you becoming the better version of yourself, to becoming the irresistible you version of yourself. And for so many of you, you're not willing to commit to yourself because you're afraid of failing. You're afraid of letting yourself down. So instead of taking a chance and taking imperfect action, and let me just tell you, and consistent imperfect action is how you become who you want to become. And it's one of the principles that we talk about constantly inside of my coaching program. So because you're afraid to commit to yourself, because you're afraid to obligate yourself to becoming this better version of yourself, what do you do instead? You sit there and you waste your life away. I'm not talking even days, months, years. I have talked to so many women, and they have been feeling the way they feel about themselves since they were children. And they're now in their 30s and 40s and beyond. How much longer are you willing to sit there and literally waste your life? And I'm going to say something else too. And I get on a roll with this topic. You're not just wasting your own life. You're wasting the life of the people that care about you, especially if you're a parent. If you are a parent, you think this isn't affecting your children? How many things have you not done with your kids? How many things have you said, I'm afraid to be seen at this size, so I'm not going to go on field trips with my kids. I'm not going to go with them anywhere. I'm not going to go volunteer on their school projects. I'm not going to go to their games. I'm not going to go run around outside with my kids when they ask me to play with them. Because God forbid someone sees my jiggly ass running in the yard. How many more years and memories are you willing to flush down the toilet because you're afraid to be seen? I'm serious. How many more years? What is it going to take for you to realize you don't get the time back? When it's gone, it's gone. That is the great equalizer, is time. We don't get the time back. So instead of humbling yourself, committing yourself, knowing it's going to be uncomfortable, knowing you're going to fail at things, knowing you're not going to do it perfectly, here's what you do instead. You sit there and you zombie walk your ass through your life. And what does it mean to zombie walk? It means exactly what it sounds like. All you are is a zombie, a shell of a person, walking around looking for your next meal, walking around, waiting around for the next paycheck, living for the weekends only. And that is existing. That is not living a life. That is existing, and that is sitting around waiting and hoping and praying that somehow happiness and contentment and peace is going to land in your lap. But you're not willing to put the work and the commitment and the dedication in to create that for yourself. You're waiting around for it to happen. It's just like, sitting at a job that treats you like shit, that you can't stand, that you resent going into every single day. I mean, how many times does your alarm clock go off and you're actually angry and you want to throw it across the room because you're that resentful of your job? Been there, done that. I know exactly how that feels. And you sit around and think and hope and pray like, oh my gosh, maybe I'll get an upgrade. Maybe I'll get a promotion. Maybe I'll get a raise. Well, how long have you been there and it hasn't happened yet? But instead of taking action to say, you know what? This isn't the job for me anymore. I may not be able to walk out the door today, but I'm going to start taking imperfect action to get myself in order to find something better because I deserve it. But instead of doing that, because you're afraid to make a commitment, you're afraid of not doing it perfectly, you're afraid that you might screw something up, you sit there and you zombie walk your ass through your job, just sitting around waiting for the weekend, waiting for a paycheck. But like thinking it's going to be better. And you do the same thing with your weight, right? You sit there and you zombie walk through life, sitting on the sidelines, playing small, trying to be invisible to everyone, not living, telling yourself, well, whenever I lose the weight, I'll do this. Whenever I lose the weight, I'll stop being shy. Whenever I lose the weight, I'll go out with my kids. Whenever I lose the weight, I'll wear a bathing suit. Whenever I lose the weight, I'll wear shorts again. Whenever I lose the weight, I'll start doing the hobbies and the passions that I used to love to do. But yet, every single week you tell yourself that same bullshit story about how you're going to start over on Monday because by Wednesday, you're like in the bathtub shoving cupcakes down your throat. Your actions are not aligned with your goals, and your actions aren't aligned with your goals and your vision because you're not committed to it. Commitment doesn't mean this is easy. That's exactly why you're not doing it. Commitment means I am willing to invest in myself no matter what it takes because I owe this to myself, because I deserve this. I am committed to investing in my future self, and in order to put deposits in the bank on my future self, what I do today, the little things that I think don't matter, oh, I'll just have a little bit here, I'll have a little bite there, oh, this won't mount, I'll start over tomorrow. All those little things that you're doing, those don't put deposits in the bank for your future. Those are like taking money out of the bank. You're withdrawing from yourself. Because you're scared to just go all in. Because to go all in means you don't get to go back again. You don't get to be the lazy version of yourself who can just start over on Monday again. So you want to give yourself an out. And it's like, what if you just took a chance on making this investment in your future? Where would you have been a year ago if you would have done this? What if you would have made a commitment to invest in where you are today? Because becoming the future version of yourself, the irresistible you version of yourself, you've got to start putting deposits in the bank now. You're not going to wake up one day and magically have happiness. You're not going to wake up one day and magically love who you are. You're not going to wake up one day and be in love with the life that you have. You get there by putting deposits in the bank today. It's the same with money. Think about it. You don't get a nest egg and a retirement and a savings fund in one time, at one time that you put something in the bank. It's over and over and over and over and over again, and it's called a sacrifice. If you want to become a better version of yourself, if you want to become what it actually means to be irresistible you, what are you doing to invest in your future? Because continuing to go on the yo-yo diet, body hate, shame cycle, and then you tell yourself, well, I'll start over on Monday. Then Monday turns into next month. Next month turns into, well, when life slows down, I'll get around to taking care of myself. I'll get around to making the life the way I want it to be. Then that turns into, well, it's the end of the summer, September now. I wasted another summer hiding in the house, afraid to be seen, not going to the pool, not going to the beach, not going on vacation, hiding my legs, feeling miserable wearing long-ass pants in the 90-degree heat, not doing things with my family, not showing up. September turns into, well, it's the holidays, so fuck the next 4 months, because that makes a lot of freaking sense, doesn't it? Right? Then, well, I'll just start over in January so I can gorge and binge my way through the holiday season and feel like shit the whole time. January comes and it's like, oh, it's January, so I'm magically going to become this new person. And now, because I have put this on hold for so long, I'm afraid to make small tweaks and changes because that's not good enough. Walking 10 minutes a day isn't good enough. Cutting out certain foods here and there, or cutting back my portions, that's not good enough because I won't see results quick enough. So I'm going to go balls to the wall hard as hell so that by January the 15th, I'm burned out. And I'm just starting the cycle all over again. Shit, who knows? Maybe you make it to Valentine's Day. But then you can't contain yourself from all the chocolate because you have put yourself in a situation where it's like all or nothing. Because you've put this on hold for so long that now you're terrified that you can't just make little tiny tweaks and changes here and there. So instead, you're like, how can I get this weight off as fast as possible, I don't have time to worry about anything else. And if you haven't listened to it, I want you to go back to the episode where I talked about, it was episode 107, where I told you you need to stop selling yourself short with just another diet. Because going on these bullshit quick fad diets, that's not commitment. That is so not committing and investing in your future. You are selling yourself short if that's what you think it takes. You think if you just get the weight off, everything will be fixed, and that's not true. What you have to do, the work that is in front of you, is so much deeper than 20 freaking pounds that you want to lose. 40 pounds, 50 pounds. I don't care if it's over 100 pounds. That is not going to take away you not loving who you are. That is not going to take away your shitty ass job that you accepted because you didn't think you were worth more than that. That's not going to take away your crappy marriage that you just accepted because you didn't think you deserved better. Losing weight's not going to change your life in those ways. It's going to change your jean size. It's going to alleviate some physical pain, but it's not going to take away the emotional and the mental pain that you're carrying around and the reasons that you really dislike your life. And it's not going to magically give you confidence if you have never practiced keeping commitments to yourself and learning how to trust yourself because you do what you say you're going to do. Losing weight doesn't change any of that. And that's what I want everyone to understand and know, that these before and after stories that you see are just about the physical. And you've got a lot more work to do than just losing the physical weight. A lot more. Because if that was true, then all the times that you fad dieted, you would have kept the weight off. And how many times have you gained the weight back? How many of you have used COVID-19 as your excuse? Oh, that's why I gained the weight back, because the gym closed. No. Let's take ownership, let's take accountability, and let's recognize that has nothing to do with your weight gain. Nothing. Because here's what commitment means. Commitment means, because I am so dedicated to myself, I will do whatever it takes to get what it is I want. And I bet you, when it comes to the food that you want to binge eat, you do whatever it takes to get the food. I know you do. That entitled fat girl is like, watch out, because I'm going to get what I want when I want it, and ain't nobody going to stop me. You need to save that energy, boo, and use that same energy for making your life better, for improving your life. That's the energy you need to keep, but you need to funnel it, and you need to bottle it up, and you need to use it in a more constructive way, because you're committed to the wrong thing. You need to use that commitment to becoming the irresistible you version of yourself, to getting rid of the emotional baggage, the emotional weight, to drop the inner fat bitch stuff. That's what you need to be doing. And commitment means I don't get an out anymore. And that's scary for you. And that's the reason why you're not willing to make this commitment to yourself. So one of the things you have to do is you really have to think about, you have to stop comparing. Like, this is what you do, is you are basing your future on your past. And that has to stop. Because if your past has consisted of you not loving who you are, running yourself ragged on the yo-yo diet, body hate, shame cycle, of course you don't believe in yourself. Of course you already give up before you start because you don't trust yourself. And you don't trust yourself and you don't have confidence in yourself because you have never made a true commitment to invest in your future. So you have to stop basing your future self, your irresistible you version of yourself, on the past. And just decide, I may not have all the answers. I may not know what it takes. But commitment means I am dedicated and I am obligated to figuring it out. Because I know when it comes to food, I'll figure it out and get whatever I want. I can manipulate. I can be entitled. I will get whatever I want when it comes to binge eating. I'm going to use that same energy and get whatever the hell I want when it comes to becoming a better version of me. Because I deserve to stay committed to investing in my future. And you know, there are lots of different ways that we invest in becoming our future self and becoming the irresistible you version of ourselves. And one of those ways is time. And, you know, it's interesting because the ways you invest in yourself are also your excuses, right? And so it's flipping the script and flipping how you're saying things and how you're thinking about things. And, you know, when you sit around and you say, I don't have time. Well, I'm sorry, but I don't have time to live a shitty-ass mediocre life. I don't have time for that. And you currently seem to have time to be doing that. You have time to not love yourself. You have time to beat yourself up. You have time to interact with the inner fat bitch. You have time to zombie walk for the weekends only. So don't tell me that you don't have time. You have time. You're not using it correctly. You're not investing and depositing your time where you need to. You're not intentional about your time. Because if you have time to sit your ass on the couch and watch Netflix and shove all the food down your throat, you have time to better your life. You have time to make improvements and adjustments and learn how to become this better version of yourself. You have time. It's up to you how you're committed to investing that time. Time is an investment. So you're either taking withdrawals or putting in deposits. And I don't know about you, but I like deposits in my bank account. So how many deposits are you willing to put? I would much rather deposit my time to reading some type of self-development book, to listening to a podcast that's going to change, you know, uplift me and motivate me. I'd rather invest my time into my own personal development than to sit around and invest my time engaging with some inner fat bitch talk about how horrible of a person I am. I'm not willing to waste my time like that. I'm not willing to make withdrawals from my future. So the things that you use as excuses are actually the things that you can invest in. This also takes energy. You're investing your energy into who you want to become. So your energy, like we just talked about, you're exerting the energy to beat yourself up, to talk shit to yourself, to like entertain the inner fat bitch. You're investing energy into figuring out how you're going to have, like you sit there and you plan for these binges. And I would much rather, or even this, like you invest energy thinking about all the excuses as to why you can't do something. How you're going to turn an invitation down because you don't want to be seen. But you can't tell anybody that. Oh no, we have to make up an excuse. And it has to be a good one about why we can't come to the party. What's it going to be this time? So, telling yourself, I don't have the energy for this. Woe is me. That's another excuse. So, that excuse becomes an investment. It's all how you look at it. It's all how you use it. You know what? I'm going to use this energy to, like, instead of sitting here and beating myself up, maybe I'm going to stand in the mirror and I'm going to find something to be grateful for, and I'm going to tell myself one nice thing today. That's how I'm going to use my energy. And right now, maybe that's all I got, is I got one nice thing to say. But tomorrow, I might have 1.5. Maybe I'll get to 2 by Wednesday. I'm going to use my energy in a different way. Instead of using energy as an excuse, I'm going to start making deposits into my future with it. I'm going to invest my energy into becoming a better version of myself. Another excuse that we use is money, right? And money is a very different excuse in some ways, and I'm not making any recommendations here, first and foremost, that anyone chooses their mortgage payment over personal development. Let's just be very clear about that. There is a hierarchy of needs that have to be met. And if you're not able to put food on the table, a roof over your head, clothes on your back, the necessities in life, then that is a totally different priority for you right now. But if you have money to spend on bullshit diets, if you have girl, guilty, okay? How many of you have a withdrawal coming out of your bank account every single month for a gym that you have never set foot in? And I want you to write that shit down. How much are you spending on that gym? How much is coming out every month? And you're not even using it. I've done it. You know, we get loped into these contracts thinking, it's that January, yes, I'm all in, I'm committed, I'm going to do whatever it takes. By Valentine's Day, you're out. You've been there like twice. And this withdrawal, literally a withdrawal, is coming out of your bank account every single month for a gym that you're never going to go back to. Right? So if you're sitting around doing that, if you're sitting around, feeding your fucking Starbucks habit every single day and, buying frivolous things and things that, shopping and buying things that make you feel better in the moment, but then you're not happy with yourself. And then you say you don't have the money to invest in yourself. And I'm not even just talking about with me, right? Like, I have plenty of clients that decide they're committed, they're willing to make an investment in their future, and they sign up for the Irresistible You coaching program. And they work with me, and they see transformation, and they see changes. And whether or not you work with me or not is irrelevant in my example, but how are you investing in yourself when it comes to personal development? Are you willing to invest in coaching, therapy, books, resources? What are you doing to invest in yourself? Because I promise you, nobody that has the life they want, that they craved, that they really wanted to make for themselves, got there without spending some kind of money. You cannot start a business without spending money. You cannot become the future version of yourself without dropping money somewhere. And I can also say this from experience. It's like when I decided I'm done basing my happiness on this number on the scale, I'm going to figure this out because I am committed to it. I have no idea what's going to happen when I go down this path. I completely am aware it's going to get uncomfortable. I'm going to have to face things that I've never wanted to face. But I am committed to myself and I am obligated to doing this because I want to figure it out because I deserve it. And I did. I spent money on therapy, on books, on coaching, on different resources, because that's what it takes. And you have to stop wasting money on bullshit diets, gym memberships you're not going to use, and start deciding, just like you do with your time and your energy, where am I best suited to spend my money? What is the best return on investment for my future? Where should I be making deposits? Because that's what it takes. That's what it takes. It takes time, it takes energy, it takes money, and it takes you being committed to the process. You are committed to making an investment in yourself. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to do it? And here's the other piece of this. You have to be willing to accept that discomfort, failure is part of the deal. It's part of the deal. And discomfort is one of the reasons why you won't make the commitment, because you don't want to feel discomfort. Every time something feels uncomfortable, you run away from it. That is why by Wednesday, or let's say by February, you're throwing in the towel with your weight loss. Why? Because it got uncomfortable. It got uncomfortable. Or how many of you, I think everyone listening to this podcast can lose weight. You know how to do it. You know what to eat. You know how much to eat. You've done it. You could probably teach a class on how to lose the physical weight. Okay? That's not the problem. It's not. The problem is you get to a certain size or a certain number or a certain number of pounds and you throw in the towel because there's something there that's blocking you that starts to get uncomfortable. Holy shit, now that I'm at this weight, I'm getting extra attention. I'm being seen. I can no longer be invisible. Because somehow, and this is like a thing, it's truly a thing, at a bigger size, a higher weight, even though you're bigger, it's like you're invisible. And that's your wet blanket. It makes you feel comfortable because there is something about the weight, there is something about a certain size that even though you tell yourself you feel miserable, you're getting something out of it. There is something comfortable about it to you. And I know I've done episodes on the wet blanket before and trying to get you to figure out what about this is serving me. Because something about that process is satisfying and it's serving you, even though that sounds so effed up, it's the truth. It's the truth. So the minute things feel uncomfortable, you run away from it. You've given yourself the out. Well, I tried. Well, see, I told you I couldn't do it, but I tried. I knew I could never get this done. I knew I could never lose the weight. I always get to this size. Every time I get to Wonderland, I self-sabotage. And instead of, you know what? Why do I self-sabotage every time I get to Wonderland? Let me get to work on that and figure out why I'm doing this. That's my next step. Who cares if I lose another 5 pounds forever how long? What I'm going to commit to right now is figuring out what's emotionally going on for me that every time I get to this number and this size, I want to throw in the towel. But instead of trying to go there and feel the discomfort or the feelings that might come up for you, it's like, I'll just revert back to my old behaviors, make myself fat again, feel miserable, and then feel sorry for myself, be the victim, have the pity party, and give myself an out. And I'm going to stop making investments in my future. If you're happy doing that, then turn the podcast off. Turn it off. Unsubscribe. Turn it off. If you're happy to continue to do this to yourself over and over and over and over again, it's like, I can't. How much more time do you want to waste and shave off your life? How much more time? That's what it all boils down to. Is that, are you going to continue to exist? Or are you going to make a decision and a commitment? I'm going to live my life. I'm going to live my life unapologetically. I'm going to live my life becoming the most irresistible version of myself that I could possibly ever become. And I'm going to do it knowing that there's going to be discomfort, knowing there's going to be times that feel like failure. But you know what? Here's the thing. There really is no failure as long as you're trying, as long as you're committed. There's hiccups. Let's just call it that. There's detours. The only actual failure is when you keep quitting on yourself. That's the failure. Failure is you quitting on yourself. That's it. That's the only possible way you could fail. And what in the world are you so afraid of? Because I am much more afraid of living a life where I'm just existing. So it's like, if that's what you're already doing, what do you have to lose? What do you really have to be afraid of? Because the life that you're living now, if you're just zombie walking and you're just existing, that's pretty damn scary. That's a life where you are throwing memories away. When's the last time you got in the picture? When's the last time you took a picture with your kids or your husband or your wife or your friends? You know, how many years are blacked out because you don't have any memories that are captured on film? How many? How many more are you willing to do this? How much longer are you willing to take and take and take and go into debt instead of putting deposits in your future self? Because if you're zombie walking, you're in debt right now. But all that can change. You just have to decide, literally, turn off this podcast and you make a decision right this second that you are committed to yourself. And let me be very clear again. Committing to yourself doesn't mean I have the answers. I'm going to do it perfectly. I know exactly how this is going to go down. No. Commitment means I don't know any of that, but I'm committed anyway. It's just like when you stand at the altar and you get married, you know, and you're young and you're naive and you're just, you know, living on cloud nine with this person, and you're like, you have zero clue when you stand at that altar and make those vows and those commitments, you have zero clue the way life is going to punch you in the gut. You have zero clue what's going to happen. None of us know. And so when you sit around and you live your life like, well, if COVID didn't happen, if this person wouldn't have said this to me, if I wouldn't have lost my job, if this stop with the excuses. Life is life, and life is going to continue to happen, right? And sometimes circumstances are circumstances, and we have to navigate through those, but we, at the end of the day, get to make a decision. What am I going to do with this? You know, it's just like tonight. Let's use comfortable in air quotes. I was in my bed, okay, at midnight. I could have just gone to sleep. And said, screw it. There won't be a podcast this week. Because I know my schedule, there would not have been time to get this done on Monday. And then, you know, I roll into the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I've got appointments. I've got coaching sessions. I've got, you know, things going on. And quite frankly, I may have a baby this week. That is a high possibility, right? And so I have commitments that I have made in my life. And we're not so commitments can be so many different things. We're not just talking about, you know, your weight. this podcast and this business that I run, where I get the pleasure and the opportunity to help other women create the irresistible lives they crave, that didn't fall into my lap. Okay? That didn't just happen. This has been years, and I mean years, of keeping commitments, keeping to a schedule, doing what I say I'm going to do. And I'm not willing to miss a podcast episode. Now, if for some reason earlier I was rushed to the hospital and had the baby, there would not have been a podcast episode. See what I'm saying? Sometimes certain circumstances change the outcome, but what are you going to do with that? And knowing me, I probably would have sat in the room and recorded it or put something out there somehow, some way. What I'm saying to you is, whatever it is that you want, you will find a way. And right now, you are finding a way to stay uncomfortable. You are finding a way to be committed to existing, not living. And if you're continuing this cycle over and over again, that's why I said this earlier, there's something about the cycle of it that's comforting to you. Even though you tell yourself, if I could just stop doing this, if I could just lose the weight, if I could just love myself, everything would be better. But yet your actions are not reflecting what you say you really want because you're not committed. And that's what has to change. So I want you, as a takeaway, to think about, how are you going to commit to investing in yourself? What does that look like? What are you committed to do? And I don't want, I'll try, I might, I hope, I will. And I think we should continue this conversation over in the free Irresistible You podcast discussion group. I will have a thread there where you can share. I want to know your plan. What are you committed to doing for yourself? Let's just talk about, as of today, what are you committed to doing for yourself to become an irresistible version of yourself? I'm not talking about all the things. What is one thing that you're committed to doing? And let's talk about that. And let's leave it on that because this heartburn, y'all. I feel like I'm going to get some stock in Tums at this point. And there's an old wives' tale that says if you have extreme heartburn, it's because your baby has a ton of hair. And I had an ultrasound last week, and this boy's got some hair. So I'm hoping he has his daddy's hair because my husband has amazing hair. Anyway, I am glad you were here. I am glad you committed yourself to the past almost hour of listening to this. If you're still listening, thank you. I love that you guys are committed to tuning in every week. That's also a commitment. That is also a piece of you investing in yourself. This is personal development. This is a tool. This is a resource. This podcast is here for you. And it's part of the process of you investing in yourself. So I don't take that lightly, and I want to thank you for making that commitment. And I hope that you follow through on that commitment and you're utilizing what you learn here. And not just listening to it and then going on to the next thing. I hope that you are somehow implementing the things that you're learning. I do. And if you're someone who wants to take it to the next level, then I would invite you to sign up for a free confidence clarity call with me to see if you would be a good fit for enrollment into the Irresistible You coaching program. And that is where we go way deeper. We dive into the 5 guiding principles that I created in the framework for Irresistible You. It's a 12-week program. It has group coaching, self-study. It has so many different components, a built-in support system, accountability. And if you would like to take things to the next level and see if that's a good fit, make sure you schedule a date and a time with me as soon as possible. And that is irresistibleicing.com/call. The link is also in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. I'm going to talk to you inside of the Facebook group. We're going to keep this conversation going. Until the next time, stay irresistible. Bye, guys.